Alright, so the next concept I want us to look is the concept of JavaScript functions. And what is a function? In programming language or in any programming, a function is a block of code written to perform some specific task. So you could, for example, say, I want to write a function that will add two numbers, or I want to write a function that will help me to multiply two numbers and return the result, or I want to write a function that will be able to maybe find the equation of a linear function, for example. So any task you can think of, you can write a function that will perform that particular task that you want to be performed. And so a function is basically a block of code. So you have a segment of code that is designed to perform a specific function. So in JavaScript, how do we write function, or how do we declare a function to be able to perform a specific task, and how do we reuse that? So a function is defined in JavaScript using with the function keyword. So we have a keyword called function, just like we have the keyword let or const, which means that we are declaring a variable. We also have another keyword in JavaScript called the function, which we use it to declare a function or to define a function. Then we follow it by the function name, then followed by the parenthesis or the brackets, and within the parenthesis we provide the data that the function is going to perform, the function is going to use. Then followed by the curly brackets, which is where we put the data within that brackets. Alright, so the code of the function or the logic of the function is written within that curly brackets. Then the function may or may not return a value, so we are going to look at that thing. Then the function can be called from anywhere within the code using the function name. So to demonstrate that, let us create a simple function that will maybe multiply two numbers and return the result. Okay, so I'm going to declare a function here. How do we declare a function? We use the function keyword. You can see because it is a keyword, it's highlighted in a different color. Then followed by the function name. So we are saying that let us give the function and say multiply two numbers. So that is the name of the function. Then in the brackets, so we are going to provide the two numbers. So let us call the two numbers number1 or num1 and num2. And then after this parenthesis, we provide the angle brackets, I mean the curly brackets. And then within these curly brackets is where we put the function logic or the code, the logic that will multiply the two numbers and return the result. So here we are going to say result, or let result be equal to num1 times num2. So once we receive the two numbers, we multiply the two numbers, then we store the result in this variable called result. Then lastly we can return the result to the person who wants to use this function. So we can return the result. Alright, so now you can see we have created a simple function that multiplies two numbers, and this function only has two lines of code within the body. So this is the function body. Now we have created a function. Now how do we use this function? If you come down here, maybe I'm going to say console dot log, and I'm going to say the result of multiplying 2 or 3 and 5, for example, is, then I'm going to call the function. Alright, so I'm going to call the function. Instead of saying 3 times 5, I already have the function that does that, so I'm just going to call the function by its name, and the name of function there is called multiply two numbers. And when I call the function, I have to give it the data within the brackets, and you can see it takes two values, num1 and num2. So in place of num1, I'm going to provide 3 comma, in place of num2, I'm going to provide 5. So when I call this function with these two numbers, then the function is going to do its logic here, and after multiplying, it is going to return the result, and this result is what will be printed here. So when I save this code and I come to my terminal here and clear the terminal, let me start the program again, and you can see now it tells you that the result of multiplying 3 and 5 is 15, because we have given these values to this function, and the function takes it and multiplies and returns the result. Alright, so that is all about a function. So you declare it using the function keyword, followed by the function name, then followed by the data if there is any data that the function uses, then followed by the curly brackets, which is the function body, and then within that function body is where you put your logic. So this one is the function logic, how the function works, or how the function processes the data that you have given. Then after that, it can return a value, and here we are doing a function call, so we are calling a function. So here there are 3 things that I need you to understand. First of all, defining a function, okay, and then function body, or where we have the logic, then we have the function call. So here we are calling the function, and before that there is something also we call the return function returning a value. Alright, so you define a function, you write its logic the way it is written here, then the function can or may not return a value, and then here you can call a function from anywhere within your code, like the way we are calling it here using the function name. So that's all about the functions, and here we have just written a simple function, but you can as well create your own more complex function than this. Unless you have a question, you can ask before we proceed. Any question? Yes, Calvin's.
You mean 3 will be mapped to num1 and the other number will be mapped to the other argument, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Sasa.
Yes. So if you provide 2 arguments here, then you must also provide 2 values here. If your function takes 3, let's say we have another third value, num3, then also when you are calling the function, you must provide exactly the 3 arguments as required by the function. Any other? Alright, So if there is no any more question, maybe what is left is your practice at your own time. So let me pause again this video